Okay, aloha kakou. Part two of this fixed annuity index is the new is the new option that we are all able to utilize. Okay, so if I was to remember the last video, it showed this on how you start off at 100 and you dip 45% loss, 60 to 70% rise in the market, which only gives you a total of $11.38 from your starting point over the course of 5 years. When you have these usual uh, products that you go with, right? IRA, 401k, TSP, TSA, etc. Now there's something called a fixed index annuity. And this is something that I love to learn about, and it's something that I will do when the time comes for me to transfer my retirement from my city job over. So this is what it does. And the key word to this, there's many other things it does, but the key word to this is protection. Okay. So everybody always talks about, oh, I want gains in my money and stuff. But here's another thing we need to focus on too is protection against loss. Okay, because protection against loss is important as well too. So let's go with the same scenario. We start off at $100. Okay. And just like the initial scenario, I have the same losses and the same gains as the previous scenario of the loss. Okay, with the regular. With a fixed annuity, there's a 0% loss. So there's a floor. This red line represents the fixed annuity, which is a floor, meaning that there's a 0% floor. So if the market goes lower than 0%, the only thing you lose is nothing. You lose nothing. Okay, so remember that now. Loss of a 30% in year one, you lose nothing. So you're still at $100. Year two comes across, another 15% loss. 15% of zero is zero. So you lose nothing still. But now this is the part where the market starts coming up, right? Like in our last scenario, they gain 20%. 20% of 100 is $20. Now you're at $120. Okay. Year four comes around. 30% gain of $120 is now $36, which brings you up to $156. Then year five comes around, 20% gain of 156 is $31.20, which now gives you a total of $187.20. So over the course of 5 years, you gained $87.20 roughly, right? I'm not adding fees, I'm not adding any of these other things, but just to show the power of what a floor can do to prevent loss is very, very important. In fact, that is almost as good as gains. Having a floor in a downward market, which happens, especially now, right, with Trump and whatnot, that is very important. Comparing this to this one, where you can see the loss in your regular retirement plan, you only gained $11.38 over the course of 5 years versus $87.20 over the course of 5 years. Okay? This is the power of a fixed index annuity, where it mimics the market. It's not completely in the market like these guys. These guys go down. That's why there's loss. These ones. Okay? But with a floor, you have protection. Market is risky. Automatically, we can all agree to that. So if you're doing something risky, wouldn't you want protection? If you're on a tightrope, wouldn't you want a net below you? If you're riding a motorcycle, wouldn't you want a helmet, right? To protect you, to do risky things. You don't have to do risky things if you don't want to, but if you're planning on doing it, which many of us are to create our retirement, wouldn't you want a protecting layer that can help you, especially with your money that you are supposed to live off of when you no longer want to work or can work? When you no longer can work or want to work, wouldn't you want money to stay there so that way you can live off of it versus it being lost? What if you're scheduled to retire in this phase of your life? This is a no bueno. Say you're in your 70s already and you want to retire and the market dips without any protection, you're going to have to work a lot longer against your will. But with this one, it looks much more pleasant, right? Much more agreeable. That's the power of fixed index annuity. If you have any further questions, DM me and we can talk more about it if you'd like to. If not, continue doing with what you're doing. But now you are educated, so now you can make your decision. Okay, shoots. Aloha.